As you can kind of tell, I changed my hat. I don't have the fuzzy one anymore. I give it to Charlie to hang out in because he likes it. So Charlie, my squirrel, so he's happy with that. Today's topic's about allostatic load and how, so you can kind of understand why things like the carnivore diet, why some people get relief, or a lot of people get relief when they go on the carnivore diet. So, for example, your allostatic loads are full, right? Your system decides to send you sensitivities because you're at capacity. And the reason why it sends you the sensitivities is to build a little bit more capacity for you by eliminating a shit ton of foods, right? Because it drains the energy of the system to have to process, filter, bam, 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 absorb energy for this rainbow of different types of foods and the amounts, right? So you get all the vegetables, all the different types of meats, all the citruses, and all the different groups of blah, 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 right? It takes a lot of energy that the body needs it to prioritize other things to keep you alive. So the brain's a genius. It goes, okay, we gotta set some limiters. He's at capacity. Give him some food sensitivities. He's able to eat maybe 2 foods, right? And that's unique to everybody, right? Everybody's got their special sensitivities that helps them. For me, I could only eat rice and beef, right? And when I did that, it allowed me to function somewhat and eat, and that was it. That's all it was letting me do. But there was a reason for it. My allostatic loads were overflowing. What else? My survival state was at 1,000, right? Especially when I got the food sensitivities, because I would freak out, didn't know what was going on. So I kind of fueled it a little bit, right? Which is supposed to be temporary, but when we don't know what we're doing, it's not a temporary thing. So we keep adding more shit to the allostatic load, and then it feeds a survival state. And of course, it goes to like 1,100, 1,200, right? It's way past the survival state. It's literally, you're in a war zone. So the goal is, of course, what we want to do is bring that survival state down back to standby, back to 0, and turn off all the alarms, empty this allostatic load, right? Drop by drop by drop, process all this stuff, right? We want to dissolve all this energy. We want to dissolve all the energy, but also like integrate it, right? Not just listen to it, but to feel it, consume it, dissolve it, right? And then when we do that, it empties the allostatic load, the alarms turn off, survival state goes down, right? And then the system gets back online as a consequence without you micromanaging everything, right? When we integrate, it dissolves. Alarms get turned off. You also bring the messages of safety with bringing the survival state down, right? Everything gets back into balance. We're out of disease. We're back into ease, and all the systems in the body get back into a flow, and they all work together in unison, right? And you heal as a consequence, because now, right, it's able to do other things instead of constantly catching up and, trying to keep up with everything. It's like it's got a desk full of Penske files, so the storage is full. It's buffering, right? It can barely keep up with anything, but it's doing it. So you got a desk full of files everywhere. It's juggling all these things, and you keep throwing more shit at it. Oh, we got a flu. No, we got pneumonia now. We got fucking a viral infection. Oh, now we got COVID. Oh, now we got, right? But eventually, when you start doing the work every day and you support it, right, it starts to catch up. So there's a period where it starts to catch up, do all the things that it can do now that it couldn't before, right? It wasn't supposed to before, because that's not a priority. It doesn't care about the burrito that you ate. It doesn't care about the digestion part. The reality is, the important thing is to keep you alive. keep you safe from the liger, the tiger, the bear. That's number one. Because if you get eaten by a liger, you'll never have a chance to digest a burrito ever again in your life. So digestion, all the systems in the body aren't as important to get put on the shelf because right now, we got to keep you alive. Healing that cut, it's not scabbing right away or whatever. Right? The system goes, we're going to pause you for a second. I need your energy. I need the body's full energy and your brain to scan for this intruder and fight and survive. Right? But eventually, when you take yourself out of the survival mode and show it that, no, we're safe. Plus, we're taking the load off. When the load empties, it brings in safety because there's no more of a meltdown. The nuclear power plant isn't up to here anymore. It's now in a safe zone. It's not at the red zone. Now it's at the yellow-green zone. When it's in the green zone, right, it has more capacity to do its job. And it does all the things for you. You don't have to micromanage and do it for it because we have that all here. We have all the filtering systems and the digestion and the blah, 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 right? So sometimes we can use certain things as coping mechanisms, and the reason why they work, let's say the carnivore diet. Why does it work? Well, it's a temporary way to build capacity, right? So let's say this is all filled up, right? You eat the carnivore diet. What is it? You eat one food once a day. You drink water. You are saving so much energy. And this could be for other foods too. It doesn't have to be just carnivore diet. It could technically be things like, let's say you just eat chicken and rice. Or let's say you just eat rice and sweet potato only, right? So it's a limiter. It's something that it's minimal. It causes the system to work less, right? I'm just using the carnivore diet because I used it and I saw how it worked, and it kind of translates so that you can understand what I'm saying. So let's say you're up to the brim right now. You got these sensitivities, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to start eating the carnivore diet temporarily. This isn't forever because, as we know, it is a coping mechanism. Because as soon as, just saying, as soon as you get off the carnivore diet and your symptoms come back, that's not a cure. That's a coping mechanism. Right? You haven't resolved the issue. If once upon a time when you were younger, you were able to eat all the foods and not have symptoms, and now you're not able to eat all the foods and you have symptoms, but the carnivore diet's the only thing that's keeping you somewhat sane, then all it's doing, it's giving you a little bit of relief by giving you capacity. So in a way, what it does, right, it opens a pocket up in the allostatic load so that you have more capacity to do more things, right? It's a great coping mechanism. There's a lot of different types of coping mechanisms that open up space in the allostatic load. But eventually, here's the thing, if you don't make the changes, this is only temporary, right? You got that little pocket of space that you created some room, you added some storage, right? Eventually, that will also fill up, and then nothing works. No amount of fasting, no amount of just eating carnivore is going to help you. It's just not going to cut it anymore. And then you have nothing to help you, right? Temporarily give you capacity. And this happens to a lot of people, and it happened to me. I used to use the carnivore diet and fasting as a coping mechanism to give me the capacity that I needed to function. And it actually worked really well. I started to have noticeable crazy changes. All of a sudden, my skin started to glow and clear up. I had these little sunspots and moles that all of a sudden just started to just come off. I started to lose weight. My blood pressure was even better than before. It was already okay, but it was even better. which was weird. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that was a thing. My vision started to be crystal clear. Right? There was so many things. My sexual performance, right? Like I started to feel like I was 18 again, right? It was, right? Without even trying. All of a sudden, I would sleep less. I didn't need 8 hours of sleep. I could sleep 5 to 6 hours and feel like I was fully rested as if I slept 8 hours. I also, and that makes sense, I pooped a lot less. Instead of 2 times a day, I was pooping 3 times a week, not because I was constipated, just because I had less to poop, less waste. And I never ever farted. I had no gas, which was interesting, right? Less upset stomach, skin cleared up, blood pressure. What else? I remember that summer I went on vacation. We went to Arizona. It was one of the hottest days ever. It's like 110 degrees, and I did not get a sunburn. We were outside all fucking day. I didn't use any sunscreen, and I didn't burn once. It's like my skin was resilient. It was working efficiently, doing its job, and I wasn't getting a reaction. Right? If you rewind, a couple of years before that, I used to get sunburns, and my skin would peel, and I would my skin was sensitive. I would get all kinds of things. But then I saw the direct results of going on the carnivore diet, right? It makes sense. You're eating less, and the meat is giving you the nutrition that you need because it's a powerhouse of nutrients in there. It has everything you need, right? But it is a coping mechanism. So if I were to get off that at that time, most of my symptoms would return, and I'm back to square one. And I wasn't going to the root. And the root is bringing those survival state down, allowing, right? Feeling the feelings, right? Paying the emotional debt, the shadow debt, one drop at a time, right? One drop, integrate, allow, feel, dissolve, move on. Next drop, get activated, allow, feel, integrate, dissolve, next drop, same thing. Right? And that was my 9 to 5 for 3 years. Actually, it was a 24/7 for 3 years. So then I didn't need to have any sort of coping mechanism, and it didn't matter because none of them worked anymore. But you can kind of understand why they work in the beginning of some people's journey. But eventually, when you have a perfect storm that's over 70 symptoms, you will see that most of these diets, right, they don't give you any relief. The only thing that they do now, if you're a person dealing with food sensitivities, is you need them for avoidance behaviors. And your system dictates what your safe foods are, not you, right? It was just, for me, it was, okay, rice and beef, not technically a carnivore diet. Some other person, that could be, cantaloupe and rice and chicken, right? It decides for you what your safe foods are. And there's a good reason for it. Because for whatever reason, that works for you to gain capacity. That's all it is. And not many people know about this, right? But you got some guy who sits in a van with some dogs who figured this out by going through it and seeing the results, right? At first, you don't understand why certain things happen, but when you are chronically ill and you start doing the work and you start to recover, the answers become clear. I find that to truly understand anything, you need to go through it, and you will be filled with all kinds of information, experience, and knowledge that nobody would ever understand if they haven't been through it, right? You can have the doctors, scientists, right, theorize, people that write books, people in the TMS field. If they haven't been through it, anybody, this is for anybody, for anything, right? Even a pilot or a plumber, right? You could have a person read about plumbing or be have a degree about whatever it is. If they haven't experienced it, it's not the same thing. It's a totally different world. right? And I experienced it, and I'm coming to non-scientific, average Joe ways of explaining it, right? And this is where I think the science would be great to support this and find out, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, it makes sense. It seems a lot of hogwash, right? It seems pretty basic and simple. Look at where it's coming from. Some guy in a van. Yeah, we're going to believe that? Well, maybe you should. Maybe they should believe that and then use your science to find out what I'm talking about. Because I find there's a lot of wasted time zooming in when somebody is in a state of fight or flight. They're not even asking that, right? Somebody's in a state of fight or flight. You zoom in, you look around, and then you say, that's the problem. Of course, things are going to be looking like they're broken or not in balance, or the mitochondria this, or the motherfucker gene that. Right? Of course the motherfucker gene's going to look all motherfuckered up. Right? Of course the mitochondria is going to look like it's, broken. Of course a lot of things are going to look like they're not good, broken, that's bad, off balance. Of course. What do you expect? It's not supposed to look perfect. Because you're activated. You're in a survival state. There's other things that are more important. But once you get back into ease, things line up. And when I say ease, they should take the information that I give as an average Joe version, the dumber way of learning it, right? It's like you're trying to teach it to a dumb person, right? This is how I learn. Keep it fucking simple. Tell me straight up. Use a couple F words in there. Doesn't mean it's not credible. It's my experience. And then take that information, right? And find out how it makes sense. Support it. Go, actually, it does make sense. We measured people that were not in a state of fight or flight. We have ways of measuring it. And people that were. We looked at their systems and we found that the motherfucker gene, right? You do that work, right? Put your work to good use that way. Work with people that have experienced things. Listen to them. Work with people that have actually overcome. Not people that are stuck. Not people that theorize. Listen to the people that have succeeded and have the success stories and overcame. And then use your scientific knowledge and find a way to present it. So that it's credible. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, so this is how I see. This is my opinion. I could be right. I think I am right. I'm pretty confident that I am right. And I've talked to other people about this that I totally agree, and they've seen the same thing, right? It's all about your allostatic load, right? Empty this, right? You'll live a life of ease. Bring down the survival state, live a life of ease and calm, and you'll be thriving. And all the symptoms will go away. All the alarms will turn off one at a time.